What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Press X Podcast, episode 102, your weekly podcast for gaming news and opinions coming at you each and every Monday at noon Eastern when my computer doesn't break, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm Kevin McManus. With me, I think for the first time in a very long time, just Todd Broussard.
Yeah, I think it's the first time. I think it's always been me.
That's not true. We for sure did the E3 episode
we did
together.
We did do that.
I know that one.
It's been like a couple years.
It's been a while.
Man, that's crazy. It's good to be back.
So I just want to go over a couple housekeeping things. First off, I made a quick video update because the podcast was late last week, and that was because my computer broke, couldn't figure it out. Eventually figured it out. It was my hard drive is dying, which isn't great because all of the podcast stuff was on the hard drive. Long story short, I finished the video and it was rendering, which is basically putting it into its final form to put like Dragon Ball. Putting it in its final form to post onto the YouTubes, and halfway through that process seems to be about where it died. So I spent the whole day trying to fix it instead of just giving up and going on the laptop and redoing the whole episode. So eventually I had to do that. So the episode was a little late. With that said, this episode may or may not have the graphics and the fun stuff, depending on how long it's going to take me to fix this computer. Might be a week, might be 2 weeks. I know it's just a hard drive, but I'm still trying to save the hard drive and get some stuff off of it and everything. So, working on it. Second off, I kind of want to start streaming. This is something I've been thinking about for a while. Maybe just 1 day a week, pick a time, and start streaming. You don't want to stream?
That's lame. I would like a stream, but 1 day a week, no.
What's wrong with 1 day? It's to start out with.
No, let's do 4 days a week.
That is way too much. Anyway, so I was just curious what you guys thought about that and what kind of time frame and day would work. I would probably stream a bunch of games nobody cares about and games I'm not good at. I don't want to stream story stuff. I want to do basically multiplayer.
Yeah.
Because I'm too enveloped in the story.
I know a hot game you can stream. Battleborn.
Battleborn? The hot ticket. I might be the only streamer.
You might get one viewer.
Yeah, there's that. There's Fortnite. There's Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
There's Splatoon. There's things I can play. There's Uncharted 4.
Tekken. You can play
Tekken. Yeah, there's stuff. Actually, doing a stream of us playing Tekken would be fun.
That would be really cool.
But anyway, I kind of want to set that up. So if you are interested in that, let me know because it's something I'm thinking about.
I'm interested. I'll let you know.
Okay, thanks, Todd. With that said, let's move into what we've been playing. I have some hot takes for mine, so we'll let you go first.
Okay.
And then I can...
So, I have been playing some Killer Instinct. Kevin got me back into the fighting game mood.
Because you won't buy Tekken.
Well, I'm going to buy Tekken.
You're just waiting for a discount?
No, I just haven't bought it. I just figured it was on Steam yesterday when you told me or whenever. So I'll probably buy it either tonight or tomorrow sometime. But, so started playing Killer Instinct again and forgot how sweet that game is. It's really cool. All the characters are out now.
They're done.
Basically, they're done. The game's complete. They got a bunch of cool maps, a bunch of cool different modes.
I'm so mad I bought that. I only bought Season 2.
Yeah.
Because I got drunk. I was let's buy it. And I just bought Season 2.
I bought the whole thing
never
for
going to play this.
$50. And it came with all the seasons.
That's
and all
what
the
I wish
stuff.
I did, yeah.
Got the soundtrack on my computer. It's cool. Whatever. I never
I'm sure you
to
listen to that all the time.
No, but so that game's really fun. I've had a blast playing it. It's kind of hard to get back into because I've been playing a bunch of Tekken recently. But excited to play Tekken on my own, learn it a little better. I've been playing some Heroes of the Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't played it since the first beta, which I don't know, it was 3-4 years ago.
It was a long time
ago.
Yeah,
let's say 3.5 years ago. But I really enjoy the game. It's really clean now. It's really smooth. And it's everything I love about a MOBA and everything I everything I love about MOBA with all the bullshit.
And it's got a bunch of characters you like, right?
It does have a lot of characters.
Because it's a Blizzard cast.
Yeah, I'm a Blizzard fanboy.
I know.
So I love all their games, and it's got every cool character from them, and they keep adding cool ones. They do this thing every few months. They're hey, what do you want the next character to be?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they do kind of a voting thing, which I think is really cool. So everyone's characters.
I can name 10.
Really cool. Yeah.
Is Sylvanas in it?
Yes, that's my favorite character. She's
Is
awesome.
Proudmoore?
Yes.
Is Tracer?
Yes.
I'm out of character.
Hanzo's in it. Genji's in it. Diva's in it. All the cool Overwatch characters are in it.
Oh, is the Eskimo chick in it?
No,
Nobody
she's not
likes
cool.
Her.
Yeah, they actually just put Hanzo in and he's busted. He can one-shot you for some reason.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's called the scatter shot build and he just doesn't you dead. But that game's been a blast. I've had really fun. The games, unlike other MOBAs, it only takes 15, 20 minutes to play a full game.
Oh, that's nice.
which is really fun. There's no. I'm sorry. I'll put my phone in my pocket. There's no shop. Like once you get into a game like League of Legends, so you don't have this crazy thing of where you're like trying to buy items while you level.
Trying to buy like
There's
trinkets.
no
stuff.
like buying stuff. So there's no like currency in the like while the game's going on, and your whole team shares experience. So your whole team's leveling up at the same time.
They're trying to make it more accessible.
It's very accessible. There's no runes and masteries or anything like that. It's very simple, but like. Playing the characters can be mechanically challenging. So, there's some skill there. And then there's some strategy to the game as well. Every game has, there's different maps. There's probably 8 different ones. And they all have a different objective that you're trying to achieve.
I don't like that.
Well, there's the same objective for every game. It's the same game mode, but there's something different that you can do.
Like sub-objectives?
Yeah. So there's one that's you, every minion you kill, you collect coins, and you're supposed to go turn it into the Queen's Tribute. And once you do that, you summon the Queen, and she helps you the rest of the map. So basically, whoever does that gets this really big lead.
Gotcha.
Just different things like that. But I've had a blast playing that game, and it's super fun. It's completely free. It's a blast. It's really fun.
I downloaded it, but my computer's broken.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tried the big one that I thought I'd get into, and I've talked about this before, is the whatever the DC one, Infinite Universe, Infinite. I forget what it was called.
Yeah. I
know
what you're talking about.
I played that one for a little bit, and I was like, I don't like
that
this.
One's kind of.
Then I played League for a little bit, and
that game's
that was fun because I was like, oh. Let me one of our friends let me use his account because I only wanted to play as Jinx. That's the only character I cared to play. So I played as Jinx, and halfway through the match, he started yelling at me, and I just left.
Was it Nick Hodges?
It was, and I just never came back to that game.
Shout out to Nick Hodges.
I played Dota 2 for a little while. My game crashed during the end of the tutorial, and when I reopened it, it told me to do the tutorial again, and I told them to F off, and I uninstalled it. And then Battleborn is the one that I liked. So anyway, is that it for you? I'm sure you can tag on to some of these things.
Yeah, I've been playing some other games, but those are the big new ones that I've been playing a lot.
Yeah, so my quick ones, of course, I've been playing more Battleborn, free to play. Hop in there as long as you have Plus or Xbox Live, you can get it. I'm sure it's free on PC, but that's probably not a good place to play it. Fortnite. Been playing a lot of that. We'll talk about them later, so I'm not going to go into it too much. Tekken 7, we have been going back through. We're back on a kick of that game.
The game's so sweet.
Announcing the DLC.
Tekken, but this Tekken's sweet.
It's really good. They made it more newcomer friendly with things like super moves and stuff.
And a Street Fighter character.
And they added a Street Fighter character. They added a King of Fighters character or whatever he is. And they added a Final Fantasy character, so that fits in perfectly and isn't going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So those are whatever. Now here's my hot takes. Are you ready?
Okay.
First off, played PUBG on the Xbox One. That game barely runs. It is something special, and everybody likes to defend it. Oh, it's a game preview. It's not the real game. I mean, you can pay money for it on the store just like every other game. It's literally just like you don't buy a book, and they're like, oh, it's a work in progress. We're going to update it later and fix it out.
We'll send you the rest of the book later.
Or like a movie. That's just not how it works. When you pay for something and you get it.
It's also a game that's been out on the PC for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know why that
they got the old build of it.
Yeah, it's trash.
It's strange.
I mean, the game sucks anyways.
I won't go that far. There's things in it I like, and I'll get there. But played it the whole airplane parachute thing.
Yeah.
Literally less than 15 frames per second. And that's not me. That's Digital Foundry. Doing the research on this. On the X, it hits 20 to 25 frames a second. So if you've got the $500 console, you can get those 25 frames. So when you're on ground, you're looking at 25, and you can hit 30 in some areas. The texture pop-in is terrible. All this stuff. Textures look significantly better on the X. Significantly. They look like PS2 on the original.
I mean, I think this is just a lot better, a lot more of a mouse and keyboard game. It's just
sure. And you can't play mouse and keyboard on an Xbox. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
because you can on PS4. I didn't know that you could do it on
the
Xbox.
Xbox sucks.
But anyway, we're gonna. So some things that I liked about it as a Fortnite player, who this was my first exposure to PUBG, and I'm never gonna play it again. I enjoyed how separated everything is. You do pick up the ammo, and you're yes, ammo. You pick up helmet and armor and stuff like that.
Very much,
liked that.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it feels very much more like a survival game than I feel like Fortnite turns into a shooter game.
Yeah, it does. Fortnite's, I mean, cartoony isn't the word I want to use, but because it's almost literally
silly.
Cartoony.
Yeah, but it's almost silly.
Yeah, it is a shooter, though.
And PUBG, you get a lot more tension, and when you die, you're oh.
Yeah, sure.
But I don't have fun playing it.
Fell through the map once. That was sweet. Yeah, I enjoyed some aspects of it, but my enjoyment is, man, I wish Fortnite would do this because they would do it better. Their team's just bigger, they have more money, they're able to do that stuff. So anyway, played through that a little bit. It didn't run well at all from my experience. Also, something else that I know, and this is something I learned. First off, the keyboard thing, because I was talking to my uncle, who's big Xbox guy, and he's all into the competitive games like Rocket League and stuff like that. I was talking to him, and I was talking about Fortnite because that's one game finally we both actually play. And we were talking about that, and he's like, yeah, well, I have an adapter that I use a mouse and keyboard. And I was like, oh, why don't you just plug in a mouse and keyboard? And he's like, you can't plug in a mouse and keyboard. And I was like, why? And he's like, it doesn't work. I was like, oh, you can just plug in a mouse and keyboard on the PlayStation 4.
What really doesn't make sense?
That's weird.
Is they adapted Windows 10 to like the Xbox.
Oh, I'm not done with my confused. Okay. And then I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And then we were talking about the X because he was like thinking about getting one. And I was like, it makes sense for you to get one because you're such an Xbox guy. You know, you're like you have no interest in a PlayStation,
right? So
upgrading makes sense. But I was like, well, and he was talking about multiplayer. He's like, yeah, well, you get this multiplayer, advantage. You're gonna have more frames and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, there's no like parity clause? He's like, no. I was like, oh. Because on PlayStation, they're not allowed to make the Pro better than the regular one online.
For that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. So just stuff I learned. So I guess you could buy the X and have an advantage, so that's cool. That being said, I want a Pro because I think maybe my game will stutter less. So I guess it's similar, but it's just a different way of approaching it. Anyway, back to more. Here's my real hot take. I've been playing Cuphead, and I've talked to you about it, so it's less exciting. I was thinking Nick was going to be on this episode, and I wanted to see what he thought about it. But
I think he really likes Cuphead, right? Nick?
Really he enjoyed it, yeah. So I've been playing Cuphead. I think that is the most overrated game of this year. I don't understand the huge hype around it. Yeah, I'm going to go into some specifics. I wrote some stuff as I was playing.
I think it looks very unique.
It is one of the best looking games.
I love the soundtrack to it.
I think the soundtrack's fine.
I like it a lot.
There's a lot of great songs, but they aren't played how I would want them. Like, I'd want a better, like, overworld song. Like, places that you spend a lot of time.
So I think everything but the gameplay is, like, awesome.
Sure.
I think all the bosses are really cool and unique. And
there's some really good ones, yeah.
They look awesome.
So here's my thing. The game, I guess I can look, but like, the game wasn't this like rewarding, amazing experience that I thought it would be.
Yeah.
The game is just a game of trial and error.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that makes a good game. Like, that's not good game design.
I think the game's fine.
So here we go. And I'm going to go through my list.
Okay.
I think the game has bad controls. First off, the jump, the shoot, and the dash are all mapped to buttons, which means you can't do them at the same time as other things.
Right.
So, like, you can't jump, shoot, and dash at the same time. So the first thing I did, and this is kind of a moot point because it has fully mappable controls, is I mapped shooting to the trigger.
Okay.
And then I have my jumping, in the same spot. And you can't jump and dash at the same time. So that kind of solved that. So I changed my shootings to right trigger and left trigger for like the special attack or whatever. So that was my first thing. I was like, this is not good. Second off, this is just an Xbox problem to me. The D-pad sucks in that game.
Okay.
Or like sucks in the controller.
Sure.
And I use the D-pad, and you cannot do anything like diagonal with that D-pad. It's horrible. So I have played through the entire game, and I haven't shot in a direction once. I just shoot right and left.
Wow.
I play it like Mega Man.
Yeah.
That being said, I also have not visited the store in the game.
Yeah.
I don't know what the store even looks like. I haven't bought any upgrades or anything like that. I'm just playing it. So, like, I'm not going to complain about the difficulty of the game for that because I'm making it way harder on myself.
Right.
Kind of on purpose. I think that the game's difficulty comes from them throwing you just into the deep end with no sense of progression or you learning. Like, I don't feel like you feel accomplished from the learning. And my scenario that I like to point out here, and the difference is this is a bullet hell game.
Yeah.
This is not a platformer game, but they added there's platforming in the game, and that's like the worst part of it is when there's a boss fight that's focused on platforming because the platforming isn't good. But like in Mega Man 5, this is a good Ego Rapper example. There's the part where you're running, and there's these enemies that fly overhead, and they fall on you. They hover, they reach where you are, they float for a second, and then drop where you were, basically. So you're walking, and you see that, and maybe it hits you, maybe it doesn't, but you see what they're doing. Then you get to the next area and you start walking and the bricks start falling out from underneath your feet.
Right.
So you go, oh, okay, these bricks, when you step on them, fall from underneath your feet. Cool. So then the next area is the bricks that fall from underneath your feet and the things. And you don't feel like, oh, fuck, I didn't know that was going to happen because they already showed you and taught you what these things are going to do. And they just made the challenge, you're doing them both at once. Cuphead, no. They would just give you both at once and be like, fuck, you died. Do it again.
Now you know.
You do it again.
Now you know.
And the game to me just became, there's so many patterns. Like the game is RNGesus. Like there's so many patterns that the enemies have that the game to me just became hit restart until you get the good pattern because there's always one that's the easiest and beat them that way.
It's especially like that on the very last fight.
I was just like, this is
it's like
ridiculous.
You just play it until you get the good pattern and you can kill the final boss.
Yeah, there are some patterns that barely like attack you.
Yeah.
And then other ones are just like bullet hells. And
yeah.
I'm like,
there's one where
I'm
it's
just
like
going to retry until I get the good
like
pattern.
4 or 5 different bosses that can come out at you. And if you like get one, he's like impossible to
There's a
get
couple.
hit.
Yeah, there's like one with and I think it's food, and it's like a cupcake thing, and all this stuff.
That's
and
the one.
Yeah, and there's like 2 that just like come at you.
Yeah.
And you can just shoot.
Yeah.
And then there's ones
2
that bounce around the screen. You're like, I'm just not going to fight the ones that bounce around the screen.
It hits you every time, and you can't like get away from it.
I don't know. Like I just never felt good about my progression. Like to me, it's almost like if you watched a video of somebody just dodging the things, you're getting the same exact information that you would just playing it, and you're just saving time. And that's not how I like to feel about a video game. Like I wasn't like, yeah. And I felt like a lot of it, and I come from the background, so it might not be true. I just felt like a lot of it was kind of easy. Like there was a couple bosses I beat second try, third try, you know. Like
I had fun with
and
it.
I actually felt that earlier bosses were harder, but that may have just been me learning the controls.
Yeah. I had fun with it because I played it with my
You did a co-op.
I did. So I played it with my older brother. We were like drinking and playing it, and it was a lot of fun. It was just like, the bosses were funny, the music was fun, the game looks cool, so we were talking about that. And I didn't really think about the gameplay. But then when I went back and played it, my brother had already finished the game, and I went back and kind of played through like the end of the game, and I was like, this is fine.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to play a co-op, but I didn't have anybody like competent because it makes it harder when you're playing co-op.
Yeah, we had a rough time.
I don't like the parry system at all either. I think the parry system is very finicky.
I don't think it's a bad game. I think
it's fine.
It's a cool game.
I think it is like
I would not replay it.
I don't think it's good. I don't think it's bad. I think it's the middle line game, and it has a great art style. And it's the first time I've seen like that, so it could like bring it up.
Yeah.
But to talk about like game of the year, like Nex Machina came out this year, and that is a better bullet hell game. Like done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was a little bit disappointed in that.
I don't think it's game of the year at all.
Yeah, well,
not even,
it got nominated in a lot of things.
I know.
Like to me, that deaths just felt cheap. Like it didn't feel like it was your fault because they didn't teach you. Like they're supposed to teach you, and they never do in this game. It's literally just trial and error, and there isn't an actual like the reward for beating something is to go lose to the next thing.
Yeah.
Unlike an RPG or something where a hard fight you're rewarded with like better stuff.
So that was like a problem I had, but a big problem I had was like some levels I just wasn't having fun. Like when I was playing the game, and that's like
there's
not
like
what I
2
want
levels to me
when
that I didn't really have fun on.
And I like don't want that to happen when I'm playing a video game, especially like a bullet storm game.
Yeah,
it's just like fun,
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's part of the genre. I'm a little bit at fault because I went into it thinking it was more like a run and gun platformer. And it's not
like a Mega Man-ish game.
Like a Mega Man. It's more like Contra if Contra was all boss battles.
Yeah,
that's kind of more what the game is.
I could definitely agree with that.
And but like, I like Contra way better. I like.
Oh, I like Contra.
I was super disappointed with this. But like I said, I was handicapping myself. I made it way harder than it needs to be. Can you buy extra health?
I have no idea, man. I didn't go in the shop either.
Yeah,
so
I don't know. If you can buy extra health, I feel like the game would almost be too simple then. Because the biggest problem is the RNG. Like you might get one bad pattern in the thing, and then that
my biggest thing about this
hurt
is
you,
like Contra and Mega Man, or like any platformer or just like Bulletstorm game.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably played through them a couple times because it doesn't take long to beat these games.
Yeah.
Like they're not like 50-hour long games.
Right. I think I played Cuphead for 4 hours or something.
But I would never have the like I don't have the feel to like go back and play this game again.
This one, no. Like Resogun, which is I platinumed that game. Like I beat that on the hardest mode.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun
I've played like a lot of the Contra games multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're really
Contra's
cool.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I like actual Contra. I'm not a big fan of like Super Contra. And stuff.
They're all fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
The actual Contra is awesome. Yeah, and I've played through multiple times.
So anyway, I was just really disappointed. I'm the reason I bring this up is I was talking about I was going to play it. I'm doing my last 2 games for Game of the Year discussions, and they're Cuphead and Hellblade. Hellblade I'm going to play this week. I know I said I was going to play it last week, but I spent so much time on my computer.
Yeah.
And Cuphead I did this week, and I was just like,
yeah,
totally.
It's fine.
I'm very disappointed with how that game went. Though, yes, it is very pretty. So that's my hot take. All right, I'm done with what I've been playing.
Okay. Oh, hey, I was going to ask you something. We can talk about it on the podcast because what is that? What is that video game you played on your Vita where it's like the touchscreen and you like slice stuff?
Severed.
Yeah, they came out with it on the iPhone.
Yeah,
and I kind of want to get it.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's on. I think it's on Switch, Vita, and iPhone.
Sweet. Yeah, I just saw it on the store like yesterday.
That's like a really. I think that's one of the top.
I'm excited to play. It was like one of the top rated like new.
It's so good.
Yeah, it seems really cool. The story sounded cool,
and it was cool. The story is cool, and it was cool because it was a Vita exclusive. Like they built it for the Vita and then ported it to other places, and it's nice to get that in because that came out last year.
That's cool.
It was cool. That game's really great. They did Guacamelee.
Yep.
And Guacamelee is also great.
Yeah, that game's sweet.
All right, let's move into the news. So some of this news is stuff that happened a couple weeks ago and we just didn't get to because of PSX and the Game Awards and stuff.
Right.
So some of this is old news, but I just had to talk about it because I had it on the list. And there are things that appeal to me. So I will start with it. Mega Man 11 was announced.
Hey.
So Mega Man had its 30th anniversary live stream. I knew something was going to get announced because they sent an invite to IGN and they sent an invite to PlayStation.
Oh, wow.
And like they were posting pictures of their invitation. So like I knew there was a game coming. The problem was there's a cartoon coming for like kids in the next year or so. And I was like, oh, it's going to be the tie-in game to the cartoon. It's going to be the, garbage cartoon game, whatever. And then I didn't actually even watch the stream. And I got multiple text messages from people going, Mega Man 11. I'm glad people think about me when they see Mega Man announcements. But everybody's like, I'm sure you've seen, but Mega Man 11. And I was like, what? So I went and I checked it out. Yeah, it's a new Mega Man. It continues the 1 through 10 series, which is really nice.
Awesome.
This is a PS4, Switch, PC, and Xbox One game.
Oh, wow.
And it comes out at the end of 2018, they said.
Sweet.
And the big thing is they redid the art style. It's not 8-bit anymore. It's not like 16-bit, and it's not 32-bit, which is the only things that the series has been. They had 8-bit games, 1 16 and 1 32. And this is a brand new look for it, which is exactly what I want, because the problem with Mega Man is they haven't had a game since 2010.
That's crazy.
They just killed them off.
Yeah.
They haven't had a game since 2010. And when they revealed it, I was a little worried that it was just going to be another 8-bit game. And like, I love those and I'd play it and enjoy it. But like, that's banking on the nostalgia still. Like, that's what they've been doing for so long, is banking on their back history. And they need to bring Mega Man to new people.
Kind of revive it.
Bring Mega Man to modern day Mega Man. We need to see what that looks like. And I think they did it. He's 2.5D now, so like he's 3D, but he's very flat looking. They did a good job with that.
That's cool.
The platforming.
So they actually like showed gameplay. And
oh
stuff?
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
The platforming looks tight. His new design is really cool, and they actually had his design in the Mega Man collection that came out earlier, but people didn't realize. They were like, "Oh, this is a design we were thinking about using for Mega Man," and it turns out that's the new Mega Man, which is cool. They did some changes to how he works, so like instead of just changing a color when you change your weapon, he actually gets like different armor, so he looks
that's awesome.
Actually different.
Kind of like Kirby.
Sure. And then they showed off one of the new weapons, which was basically 4 blocks form ahead of him and then just drop down. And they have also announced, not from this trailer, but from interviews, they've announced that you can charge the special weapons in this one, which means maybe the blocks will fall and like stay there and you can use them as platforms or something.
That would be awesome.
Which would be cool, because all that stuff makes speedrunning so fun to watch, because people can figure out all these shortcuts and things.
That's awesome.
So I think the game looks awesome. They do a lot of cool stuff that you couldn't do in any of the other art styles, which is what I wanted to see to like verify that I would like it.
Right.
So, for instance, he fights a like crane that spins, and like the crane part goes
like
into
a
the
bird.
No, the crane part goes into the background and then comes forward, and you have to time your jump over it. Like they do stuff like that you haven't really. There's a little bit Mega Man 8, but you haven't really been able to do in the other Mega Man. So I thought that was great. So I'm super excited for this. Obviously, it's getting a physical copy. Was released announced today, I believe. And Game Informer has the January issue is the Mega Man 11 issue, and they have actually gone and played 2 of the levels and fought 2 of the Robot Masters.
Oh, wow.
And
Which is why we went to GameStop today.
don't worry about it, man. And had used the new weapons and stuff.
Okay.
And they said there is a mechanic in the game, like a new mechanic in the game that they're not allowed to talk about that will be revealed. Sick. And they said it's fun. Like they like the new mechanic. Awesome. So I'm excited to see what that is. I was thinking it was a point system because Mega Man 1 had a point system, and then they scrapped it just because every game had a point system back then. That's how that was. People didn't know how to make games without a point system when they first started doing that. So I was thinking maybe they added a point system, but I don't think that's what it is. After kind of watching the trailer and seeing huge fiery explosions, it seems like some sort of new move, like a new crazy
That'd be cool.
super move or something.
Yeah.
It's got 4 different difficulties, so there's a hard, a normal, an easy, and a very easy. So to make it accessible to different people,
I'll
which
play
is
the
kind
very easy.
which is kind of their goal. Super excited for this. So good job, Capcom, actually. And the people in charge of it, the whole video was literally, they played the trailer 10 times, and they interviewed people that worked on it. So, the designer, the lead guy, I think, was one of the people that worked on Mega Man 5. So, they have history with Mega Man. It's not just, a random
really
studio. Cool. And this is Capcom doing this. This isn't Capcom getting a third party to make a Mega Man game and then publishing it. This is Capcom working on it.
That's really cool.
So, Mega Man's back. Very happy about that. On top of that, they announced that the Legacy Collection and Legacy Collection 2 are coming to Switch.
Nice.
And they announced that Mega Man X Collection is coming to all consoles next year. So that's crazy because I don't think they've ever re-released X7 or X8, ever. So that'll be cool. Also, they're PS2 games, so I'm interested to see if they do touch-ups or just leave it or what they're going to do for that. Fun fact, one of the only Mega Man games I've never played is Mega Man X8. So I'm excited. I have it. Yeah. And I was actually going to play it for the first time ever and do a video series of me playing it because I've never played it before, and I think that'd be fun to see how I go through and try and figure things out.
Right.
But maybe I'll wait for this collection now. It'll be easier to record, that's for sure, than on the PS2. So that's coming late 2018. So I'm excited.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah. Good man. Next up, Final Fantasy 15's gotten some huge updates. They had the Ignis chapter, which I don't know too much about because I haven't done the other chapters, but basically they've made a chapter for each of the boy band characters. And in this new update, they have a feature that lets you swap between playing all the characters at any time.
I think that's awesome.
So you can, I do too. It almost makes me want to go through the game again.
I think that everyone has a favorite character.
Yeah, mine's Noctis, who you start with. Yeah. But people definitely do. So this allows you to literally on the fly, mid-battle, swap to the gun character, start really shooting from range, swap to the heavy character. Seems cool. I enjoy this. And they announced that they have next year all more DLC coming out. They have a whole roadmap for next year.
That's awesome.
So this game's going to be a very different game by the time it's finished. And I actually might go through it again because I didn't like Final Fantasy 15 very much, but I am totally willing to try again because it wasn't I hated it and despised it. There was things I liked and there was things I didn't like. And if this, fixes the things I didn't like, then that's cool. And I'm down to try it out.
I only like one Final Fantasy game.
Which one?
Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah. That's it.
It's a lot of people. I mean, that's not that uncommon of an opinion from just people who don't like Final Fantasy. They're but Tactics is cool.
Yeah.
I actually, besides 15, I haven't played a Final Fantasy I don't like. And I haven't played that many.
That's cool.
But besides 15, 15's the first one I played and was ooh, that's not true. 13.3 wasn't good. I'm a liar. 13.3 is pretty bad.
I played the MMO, whatever that was, 11? Is that what it is?
11 was an MMO, 14 was the new MMO.
Okay.
Realm Reborn.
Yeah, I think I played both of them.
Yeah, it was fine. It just feels like WoW skinned with Final Fantasy to me.
And I just like WoW better, so.
Yeah, that's fair. Next up, Pokemon Go. A Pokemon Go update has added Gen 3 and a weather update and a whole bunch of other things such as battle parties, so you can pick your Pokemon that you want to go into battle with and just select that, and it selects all those Pokemon, which makes things a lot quicker. Basically, they dropped 50. I don't know how big Gen 3 is. Do you have any idea?
I don't
know either. I don't know Gen 3, but I'm liking it so far from this update. It lets you, basically 50 of them have shown up and you can go get them. And the cool thing is this weather system. So now there's a sky in the game and all this stuff, but the weather affects the Pokemon. So if it's a hot day, fire Pokemon will spawn at double rates their attacks do more damage in gyms, and if you catch one, the likelihood that it's a better IV Pokemon is raised by 20% or something
awesome.
like that. So you just have a better chance to get perfect IV Pokemon and everything. This is really cool because there's certain Pokemon that I want, like Gardevoir. Gardevoir, is that her name? She's a Gen 3 Pokemon, I think. And Ralts, or whatever her name is the fairy type.
Is Gen 3 the one with the starter Pokemon that's like the...
Trico, Sceptile.
Okay, Sceptile.
Yeah, he's like the best Pokemon in this, actually. That's been released. But, Jesus, I don't want to I'm just not going to catch that guy because of you.
I'm going to start playing just to catch the guy.
Mudkip's the other starter, and I think the other one's a little bird. It's like Torchic or something.
Yep.
Anyway, I really want the fairy Pokemon in here in this game. So, I can wait until the weather's cloudy.
Yeah.
And then there's more fairy Pokemon out, and I can go specifically if it's cold or snowing, there's more ice Pokemon out. So you get the ability as a more rural player to get these Pokemon that you've been wanting just by selecting when you play. And I think that's really cool. And it works really well, actually.
I wish I would have stuck with Pokemon Go because I tried to re-download it and I was like, man, I don't feel like catching all these Pokemon again.
Did you delete your account? It's just linked to your email.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I have 5 emails, so I don't know.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And then they obviously have the raids where you get together with 8 to 20 people and battle the Pokemon. Ho just left, and as of today, which is a couple days ago when this goes live, whatever the red dinosaur thing is live.
Oh, sick.
Gerd, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know his name, but he's live as the next Pokemon. So
that's cool.
Lots of good news for Pokemon Go, and I'm gonna keep talking about it because I enjoy the game.
I'm gonna text Nick really quick.
Text him what?
Let's bring a Pokemon fighting game.
No, that's not happening. I'm not allowing it. We're playing Tekken. Stop it. I don't want to play Pokken. The game's terrible. You guys can play it on Switch on the little screen by yourselves. How's that sound?
I just said bring Proken.
All right. It's not like
he gets that.
It's not like Pokken is a real word, so why don't we just play Tekken? The game it's based off of. Next up. Obviously PSX happened, and there was some panels. I watched a couple of them, and I just took some notes on some. So the big ones that I watched, Last of Us 2.
Hey.
So very interesting panel for Last of Us 2. Had all the voice actors, awesome. New and old. It was interesting because some of these, this is their first gig. Yeah. It was The Last of Us 2, which is a pretty big gig. From what I'm gathering from what they've talked about, and this is going into speculation mode, and I'm going to put a spoiler tag for The Last of Us up right now, and by up I mean when I let go of this, when I put this down, I'm done spoiling it. So spoilers for The Last of Us for a second here. I know you've already played through it because you played through it with me, so I'm not worried about you. So from what I've gathered from this, I don't think Ellie and Joel are going to be in this game very much. They put a lot of emphasis on these new characters. Neil Druckmann specifically said it is a new... they're worried people might not like the new way they're doing the storytelling and things along those lines. And Troy Baker, who is Joel, barely talked during this whole event, which leads me to believe he might die really early on.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I mean, I like him a lot.
So I actually think this game might be a flashback. It might take place in the past and be Ellie's mom's journey or whatever, and then we only get Ellie and Joel right at the end. I don't think they're going to be huge parts of the game. So we'll see. All right, now back to just regular Last of Us 2 stuff. So they said that they are 50 to 60% done, and that is a very estimate. He just said off the top of my head, I would say 50 to 60%. The host has seen the game be played. So there is a playable, she's like, hey guys, I've seen it and it was awesome. So she's seen the game be played. They said, she's like, when are we going to see that? And typically they don't reveal that. He said E3 2018, Last of Us 2 gameplay.
Dang.
So that's awesome. I did like that Reddit has figured out that the game takes place in Seattle by matching landmarks from the trailer.
That's cool.
And Neil was just like, yeah, Reddit kind of ruined it, but yes, the game is in Seattle. You guys figured it out. Good job. And then a big thing to say, because of all this controversy, that all the shots taken at like EA with linear narrative single player games, all this stuff, Neil Druckmann said Naughty Dog will always make single player linear narrative games. So that's just some reassurance that, you know, we're not gonna go down some path that that EA and other studios have gone down.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So that's the Last of Us stuff. Next up, I want to talk about Death Stranding. So Death Stranding had a new trailer.
I'm excited about this game.
Oh my gosh. So Death Stranding had a new trailer, and it was awesome and very confusing. And they're like, some of this is gameplay, some of it's all in engine, some's gameplay, some's just cinematic. Like, okay, whatever. Kojima says that he feels like he's being diligent and quick and not wasting money with this game, like he's really on it. We'll see when it comes out how big it is. Maybe I actually would wish that it's a smaller like experience than is that Nick being like, hey, no.
No, it was an alarm.
Oh, time to get up. So anyway, I actually wish it would be a smaller experience than something huge like Metal Gear 5, but it's probably going to be huge like Metal Gear 5. With that said, he talked a little bit about the game finally. We know it's a third-person action game. We know that there is a female and a male main character. We still don't know who the female main character is. Still think it's Emma Stone, but we'll see. And he said that there's hints in the trailer, and there's definitely some things in the trailer that are interesting, like Mads Mikkelsen points at one point in the trailer, and there's another character that points exactly the same way. And people are thinking maybe they're like linked, and there's like two separate dimensions and all this stuff. Well, Kojima revealed that there's no game over in this game, and if you die in the third-person action section of the game, you are brought to a different like world in first person. And this sounds very PT to me.
That's awesome.
And you explore and do stuff in this first-person mode, and by the time you get back to the third-person stuff, that world has changed.
That's
and
really
that,
cool.
I really think, is PT. Like, that's... Because I remember when PT came out, everybody's like, is this a first-person game? And he was like... We're toying with the idea of doing third person for you know, he wouldn't like answer.
Yeah.
And the whole tagline in PT was the gap in the door is a separate reality.
Yeah.
And to me, I think he's taking some inspiration from PT and putting it in this game.
That's great.
And I'm so excited.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I'm so excited. So, yeah, Death Stranding. Look for it in 2021.
So excited.
On the PlayStation 5.
It's like game of the century.
Yeah, I'm scared that it's going to get like Batman versus Superman or you know, The Last Jedi, where like it's a product of hype and then it doesn't live up to it and everybody's pissed. But we'll see. I'm excited too. Next up, Fortnite. This is something I just want to talk about really quick. Fortnite has added Season 2. I think it goes until February something, not entirely sure. And they introduced battle passes. So the way that this works is basically as you level up, because there's a progression system now, you unlock emotes and different things like that. But if you buy a battle pass, which I think is $10 maybe, every time you level, you get like 2 or 3 cosmetic items.
Oh, that's neat.
And you get double experience for the whole months that you get. So... if you can make it all the way to level 70, you get everything. So it's interesting. Really cool. So you have to pay, and everything's only cosmetic, but you can get literally, I don't know, 100-something items. I don't remember the exact number, but it's a whole bunch of items, emotes, new skins, everything. Awesome. So it's interesting. And then if you, get to level 20 and you buy it, you just unlock everything that you've unlocked up till that point, basically.
I'm excited that they have like cosmetics now.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they've had them for a little while, but it's cool that you can just like unlock them now and I don't have to like pay money for them. Right. My biggest like problem with this game is just
you can't design your character.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's just really like
it's annoying.
It's a real killer for me.
My thing that I don't like about it is you can't design your own character, but the problem with the cosmetics is that like guarantees to me that you're never going to be able to just customize your character. Like I would prefer they're like, here's a shirt, here's a hat, here's pants, here's boots. Make your character however you want.
I'm cool with just having like a skin.
And to me, it's all skin.
I'm cool. I like skins.
Which to me says we're never going to get the.
I really wish you could just pick your character. Like you play the same character every game.
Me too. There's a couple that I like, and then there's like 5 I don't like.
The gameplay itself is a blast.
And I keep getting ones I don't like. Yeah. But this is awesome. Also, they have the winter update, which makes it snow in the like opening, and the bus is all lined with Christmas lights, and Santa is up above it instead of the balloon. The music's different; it's like more Christmassy, and the bushes all have Christmas lights on them, which is neat. And then, pro tip, if you land by the house in the water, I don't remember what it's called, but if you land by the house in the water, there's a Christmas tree, and under the Christmas tree is 1 to 3 chests every single match.
That's awesome.
So go drop there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's the tip.
That way you die instantly.
No, nobody knows about it yet.
Oh, really? That's really cool.
Like I'm going to say 1 out of every 10 times somebody lands there with
Well,
me.
now 5 people do because they're going to watch this podcast.
That is great. That's why I'm giving the pro tips. But anyway, I really obviously like this game. Really like the new thing. Oh, there's a snowball gun too that is way overpowered.
That's cool.
It just shoots snowballs and they do 100 damage.
Nice.
It's not great.
Sounds sweet.
It's pretty
I
miserable.
like snowballs.
It's actually snowman heads.
Even
They're
better.
huge. But anyway,
Can you ride them?
no.
Bummer.
They explode on impact. So there's that. Next up, Devil May Cry Collection is coming to the PlayStation 4 in March. This is Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3.
Man, I forgot about these games until
That's true.
Whenever that is.
And there was a rumor that 5 was going to be announced and Soul Calibur 6. And we got Soul Calibur 6 and then we got this. So this seems like maybe people heard there's new Devil May Cry and it turns out to be this collection. This is cool. Some people very upset that it's not 4K. There's no, on the X, on the PS4 Pro, there's no 4K version of this game except for the PC copy will be 4K.
Hey.
People are upset about this. People are like, it's Capcom, and they just released Okami, and Okami's in 4K. And they're like, what's the deal?
It's definitely weird.
Whatever.
But, I mean, I'm excited about it. I like
I
these
am
games
too.
when I play
Also,
through
I think
them.
it's only $30 at launch.
Oh, that's awesome. And I kind of forgot about them, so I'm excited to play through them.
Yeah, I'm excited to play through them and Okami, to be dead honest. And finally, just some sales figures to go over really quick. The Switch has officially sold 10 million plus units.
Hey.
Good job, Switch. Doing really well, doing better than I thought it would,
That's awesome.
especially considering they were impossible to get for 6
while.
months,
Yeah, a while.
7 months. They were impossible to get.
Thanks, Nintendo.
The PlayStation, man, there's a Nintendo cereal out now, and I just can't get it because it says Nintendo on it. It's so dumb. They're selling them on eBay for like $25. It's
So
a box
dumb.
of cereal. Next up,
I like
PS4.
cereal.
They taste like Lucky Charms. PS4 has sold 70 million units.
That's insane.
The Uncharted series has sold over 41 million units.
That's insane.
And finally, this is the only number I could find. Xbox One, it was estimated to sell 30 million units in August. And we haven't had actual numbers for a very long time.
I can't believe there's been
But
that
was
many Uncharted games sold, and I've never played Uncharted. I played the multiplayer beta of Uncharted 4. I didn't like it.
All right. So that's that. Let's move into some questions, and then we're not going to do releases because nothing releases now. There's no games for basically until January.
wow,
yeah. So PUBG, I think, was the big last one. So something called like Teeny Metal or something like that, but I don't even know what
No
that is.
releases.
So let's move into some questions and comments. So comments. World's End says, World End. I always say Worlds.
Change your name to Worlds.
I agree.
That's better.
I agree. It rolls off
Anyways,
the tongue
question.
better. Question.
Comment.
Comment. Horizon got robbed. He's talking about the video game awards. Horizon did not win anything.
Right.
It was nominated for Art Direction. It was nominated for Game of the Year. It was nominated for Best Action Adventure Game. And I think one other thing. Oh, Performance. Best Performance. And I just think that the reason is it's a jack of all trades, master of none game. Like,
Yeah, I think it's a cool game. It looks pretty. It doesn't look amazing.
I think it looks amazing realistic wise. I think it's one of the best looking games. But the thing is, art direction, you went up against Cuphead.
Yeah.
Like, you're going up against games that have like distinct art that's
And it's
not
like very
realistic.
creative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
Like Destiny
very
2
creative.
was in that category.
Yeah.
And then like performance, I don't think the performance in that game was
I think
very
it's
good.
fine. I
Like
think it's
it was,
fine.
it was fine. Like when you compare it to like Uncharted's and stuff,
Yeah.
I don't think you're gonna win.
Right.
The game of the year obviously is just rough competition. You're up against Persona, you're up against Zelda, you're up against Mario. Like that's just
This was
rough.
an insane year for great games.
So that one's just rough. And then so like my point was just like there's so many categories
Yeah.
that it was nominated for, and that game is such a broad stroke of everything that like best narrative, that's the other thing it was nominated for. Best narrative went to Edith Finch. What is Edith Finch? A game that is literally only a story.
Yeah.
There is nothing else in
Yeah.
that game. So like you're gonna lose to things that focus on one thing, like Cuphead. Just visuals, man. Like
Yep.
so. Next up, he says also the dev saying "fuck the Oscars" was karma coming back at Jeff after he cornered that Epic dev for Fortnite about having crossplay. Yeah, I kind of agree. It's funny because I felt really bad for Jeff. I don't know if you've seen this moment.
No, I
basically,
haven't.
the guy got up on stage to talk about A Way Out, which was his game. and he didn't talk about the game. He just went off on this tangent. He was like, how awesome is this shit? He's like, this is nothing like the Oscars. Fuck the Oscars. He gave the camera the middle finger. Jeff Keighley, the host, is just trying to like move it along, get to his game that they're trying to show off.
Right.
And then he goes, after he does all that, he goes, can I curse on this? And he's like, we're on the internet, so I guess you can curse. Fuck the Oscar. And he just kept going, and Jeff was trying to reel him in. I felt really bad for Jeff.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, World End makes a point that he did corner the Fortnite dev when they were on stage.
Yeah.
He went, so when are you going to put crossplay in the game, like Xbox versus PS4? Because it was in the game for like a few days, and they shut it off because Sony told him to. And he was just like, I mean, we can't. Like, it's not our choice.
Right.
And like he kept kind of pressuring him.
Right.
So I actually like that comment that it's karma. Jeff's always been very pushy as a journalist.
Oh yeah.
Like he's the one that got Don Matrick, I believe, to say if you don't have internet for an Xbox One, buy a 360. And Jeff's like, that's your message to your consumers. Go play on 360. And he's like, I guess if you don't have internet, like he's always been very aggressive.
Kind of a dick.
Yeah. So I like him better doing awards, doing announcements, doing the events, not so much doing video game coverage because he is. I feel bad for the devs because he is always trying to get them to slip up. Like he just wants to make a headline.
I agree.
Also, just for you, I put up Catherine game and my Catherine statue because he commented that he liked the Catherine poster that I had on the wall at the first episode of a recap. And he's like, I missed the Catherine poster. And I was like, I got you. Hey, Nick, remind me to go get my Catherine stuff. And he didn't. So one episode late, but here is some Catherine stuff for you. There you go. I love that statue, by the way.
That statue's awesome, and the game's pretty sweet.
Big fan. Next up, Zach Yonder says, I agree with you guys. Show all the awards and get rid of the fan voting except for specific categories. So this is back to the Game Awards. Basically, 50% or something of the vote was fan voted, and then the rest was committee. Like, so for one thing, 50% of that was fan, and then 50% was committee. And I was like, why? And like, if you're not going to show the breakdown in the percentage, like, so for instance, Zelda might have won Game of the Year because fans voted for it. Yeah. But if fans weren't involved, Persona might have won, or Horizon might have won. Like, I don't like that fan voting was even allowed, and the fact that it was allowed and they didn't show what
the
fans voted, that's
I
weird.
Agree with that.
So I think you get rid of that. I think you get rid of the game reveals, honestly. Like, make it an award show, make it about games. Like, if you want to be taken seriously, that's what you got to do. And my example is always just like at the Oscars, they're not like, that was a great movie, congratulations. And here is a trailer for a movie coming out next year that'll be nominated for an Oscar. Like, that's strange. So yeah, I think that they should do that. Also, Zach posted a topic for an episode in the future, and we will definitely do that topic. Probably, maybe, if we might do it as soon as next week, but we might have to hold off for a few weeks just because we have the Game of the Year discussion, our most anticipated games, our most disappointing games. We have our predictions to go over, so we have a couple things to run through, but it's definitely one I will put on the back burner, and we will get to eventually. Very interesting topic. It was basically a bunch of Nintendo games in the years they came out, and what was the best year for Nintendo.
For Nintendo?
Because there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that sometime. So thank you for that.
I'll be thinking about it.
Next up, one quick question. With all the EA loot box controversy, what do you think the best way to handle loot boxes, microtransactions, and DLC is? So, obviously, EA dropped the ball in the microtransaction loot box situation. Yeah. Everybody very upset about that game. Star Wars Battlefront having all these microtransaction loot box progression systems.
Okay.
So, what do you think is the best way to do DLC?
Okay.
Period.
So, so as far as DLC goes, for like game expansions, I think game expansions should be free. If I'm paying, like, let's say a console game, if I'm paying, $65, $70 for a video game, I feel like I should get other content for that video game for free. I think it's ridiculous that this DLC season pass thing came about. It's absolutely
I agree. I don't know what the
insane.
first game with the season pass was.
I don't know, but it's bullshit.
I want to say it was like Deus Ex or Assassin's Creed.
Makes me super.
Correct me.
And there's been so many games where I play the game at $60 and it feels like a $20 game.
Yes.
And then you play the DLC and you're like, well, it's a little better, but I'm still
I wish it was there at
yeah.
launch. Yeah, that's a big problem that I
sucks.
have. I like having everything on disc, and
Yeah.
I like that is the complete game to me. Is the game on disc?
Yes.
And it gets a little weird with online games, like Friday the 13th is a good
Yes.
example. Like, that game is literally PUBG, Fortnite. These games are ever evolving, so like they don't really follow that. But like, and I think I've suggested this before. I wish that every game, if you did patches and expansions in DLC, every game should be required to make a final edition and release it with everything on the disc.
So let's take a video game that has perfected, in my opinion, microtransactions.
What is it? Lay it on me.
DLCs and loot boxes.
What
and
is
it's
it?
League of Legends.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Overwatch.
You can get everything in this game for free if you spend enough time playing it. Or you can spend actual money and get what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And there are loot boxes if that's your thing. You
and
can
it's
buy
all
these loot boxes.
cosmetic, which
it's
is
all
important.
cosmetic. Yeah.
Right. So that's, I think, for multiplayer games, I think League, Battleborn, these games do it correct, where you can earn it. It doesn't feel ridiculous to earn it in game. No. And the thing is, there's just so much of it that
there is. But
that's what creates the give me more.
What's crazy
thing.
about these is it's always free, and they'll update the maps. They come out with new game modes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I feel like they should do this for games that I'm paying $60 for. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. My biggest thing about DLCs right now is like fighting games. How I have to buy a new fighter,
and it's like
$6,
$7.
It's super expensive, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Or if
Fighting
I want to buy a
games are way too
cosmetic
expensive.
item, it's like $5 for a costume for my fighter.
Yeah, it's a little weird because
It's insane.
genre does make a big difference.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that a free game, that is the perfect model.
Yes.
The loot box. If it's a paid game,
Yeah.
either give it to me for free if it's multiplayer. I'm talking about paid game. Give it to me for free.
Or just make like a level requirement. Like Call of Duty. If I want to unlock a new gun, I just would get to a certain level. Or if I want a camo, I just do a certain
I can't
thing to
even
get the
think of a
camo.
good example of a multiplayer game that you pay for that I think you should have to pay additional stuff for things. Like, the only thing I could think of is like collaborative something. Like, if they made a Mass Effect costume, like you could buy that. But I can't even think of a good example for that. So I'm going to say don't do it. Expansions are a little different. So expansions I think are fine. I think you can charge fairly up to $20 depending on how big the expansions are. Like the Witcher expansions are huge, you know. I think like there's ones that are totally wrong, like Resident Evil 7. I think those expansions were $15 and they were like an hour. That's not cool.
So I bought the $100 season pass for The Division.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought it before I played the game.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Like, I was just hoping the game was good because I liked Ubisoft when this was all happening, and I was like, dude, this can be a sweet game. The game looks awesome. Paid $120 or whatever it was for the game and the season pass.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played the original game, and I haven't played any of the DLC.
Yeah, well, that's your fault for buying the season
but like
pass.
this, it's just stupid. Like, I think all that should be free if I'm going to spend $60.
See, I like I guess that's a multiplayer. That's a multiplayer only $60 game. Yeah, everything should be free for that. I agree.
Yes.
But when I'm talking like single player games where they don't have a constant stream of money coming in because they have more players and stuff, and like streamers, getting people in. Like The Witcher is a good example. Or
I mean, if you have
Uncharted, even Persona hasn't done it, but I think doing an expansion for $15, $20, whatever, is fine. But then make Game of the Year edition, like you have to do an edition that has everything.
But
after you're done,
I think my biggest thing is if you know when you're coming out with that game that you're gonna have DLC for it, it shouldn't cost you extra money.
Yeah, that they're playing. Is it like I can't
World of Warcraft
imagine
came out
any time where somebody went, "Oh, we're making a game. Is there going to be DLC?" We don't know. Like, yes, you do. You have to know that you were working on DLC.
So let's say let's talk about World of Warcraft because this is a good example of where all this started. I think it started with World of Warcraft. They came out with a game, and then they came out with an expansion that they weren't planning on making when the game came out.
Sure.
And then they started coming out with DLC, like you can buy this mount from their website.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or you can buy this like costume, or you can buy this.
That's no bueno.
You can gift your friends. And then it turned out like the expansions started getting more expensive.
Not to mention you have to pay $15 a month to play that game.
Yeah, and that like it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that game.
And then they started doing with other games. Like they were like, oh well, we'll come out with an expansion, or you can just. And then people were like, oh, we're coming out with this game, and there's going to be these expansions for
like
it
Destiny. You
on
get
release.
it, and they're literally the covers of the expansion are come with the game.
Just give me the whole goddamn game.
Yeah, I know. Just wait. Just put the game out when
Yes.
it's done. Yeah, that stuff drives me crazy. Oh my gosh,
It makes me so mad. Like I quit playing Destiny. The new expansion came out, and I refused to buy it.
I
It's
agree.
$30 fucking dollars.
I completely agree. And you know what's great? You can get the complete edition of Destiny right now, $5 for everything.
The first Destiny, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get $5
Yeah.
for everything, and
Yeah,
it's like
that's awesome.
This is why I'm not buying Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Like I will wait until all the expansions come out, and that is a $5 game
Yeah.
because I know for a fact you're just going to charge me $30 for an expansion that you've been working on for a year.
ridiculous.
Like finish the game. Another interesting way to do it is the standalone stuff. So that's like Infamous made Infamous First Light.
Right.
Uncharted did Lost Legacy, which was a $40 standalone expansion.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that.
And that's interesting because they were very open about that. They were like, we're doing DLC for Uncharted to the degree that I bought the season pass for Uncharted because I trust them.
Yeah.
And it was included in the season pass. And they're like, we're not doing a standalone, or we're not doing a DLC. We're actually just making a standalone game, but you can have it for free
That's cool.
because you bought the season pass. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, that's neat. But that's an example of something that I think they were going to tell one story and they were just like, we'll just make a whole game
Yeah.
out of it.
I don't like
So there's
season
different
passes.
corner cases, but like in my honest opinion, I hate all DLC. I wish there was no DLC for stuff, honestly, and just finish everything that you want to do, ship it, and then get to work on your next.
Yeah,
next one.
I'm cool. I mean, I'm fine with DLC in this fact. Like, if a
If the game's free.
well, even if it's not free, if you just give me the DLC, like, there's loads of PC games. I mean, which is where DLCs come from. It's from the PC market.
Because you could
And
download it.
the
Yeah.
game will come out, and then like a year later, they'll be like, here's some skins that we're developing. We finally finished them. You guys can have them for free for your characters or whatever. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, sick, thank you. Or they're like,
Yeah.
hey, here's this extra level that we finished randomly.
Yeah, it bothers me big time.
Yeah.
I do like that some fighting games have tried to do like, oh, you can earn it with in-game stuff.
I'm fine with that.
Like Tekken, they have an in-game currency.
Yeah,
Just let
that's
you
great.
buy the characters, make them 50 million in-game currency.
I think that's what they do with
cares?
League. They make them like 10. It takes like 2 months to get the character, or you can spend real money on it, and like you just do whatever you want.
Battleborn doesn't even take that long. You can probably get a Battleborn character in a week or two. Like, I don't know. So yeah, my final thing is I think that they should always make a complete edition if they're going to do it, just for video game preservation and respect of the customers.
Yes.
I think that if you're going to do the expansions and stuff that way, if your game is free or like low priced, I'm okay with doing cosmetic items for buying. I have no
right
problem
with
with that.
cosmetic items in any game.
Sure, if they're even if they're pay, you don't care.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Like,
'Cause they're
it's not something I
cosmetic.
need to have more fun in the game.
See, Persona has cosmetic items, Persona 5, and it drives me crazy. There is literally 20-something
Yeah.
outfits and background music that you can buy for that game, and it just eats at my soul that I
Really?
don't have all that stuff. Yeah. And they came out the day the game came out. I'm like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, I mean that sucks that they didn't put it in the game. I mean it's definitely better, but in like loot boxes, man, fuck loot boxes.
Oh, I
There's
hate
one
loot
game
boxes.
that does it in a fun way, and it's Overwatch, and you get one loot box every time you level.
Sure.
And the levels don't stop. So you get a loot box. You get like 10 loot boxes a day.
Yeah,
and
that's
you
how
open them,
Battleborn
and
is,
it's
but
fun.
Battleborn's loot boxes are not satisfying to open at all.
Really?
They're like you might get a new skin or something, but most of the stuff you get, you're like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that was kind of Lawbreaker. Lawbreakers was pretty fun too with their loot boxes.
Yeah.
They just copied Overwatch.
Oh, yeah.
But like there is a lot of stupid stuff.
Man,
that
that
you
game
get,
fucking flopped.
Like logo. I know it sucks. It was fun
It
too.
sucks.
Like a bunch of logos and stuff that you get, and you're like, I don't want these. Can I cash these in and get
So
something
all
else?
in all, if you have predetermined DLC for your game, just put it in your goddamn game.
Yeah, just wait. Your game's not done.
Just wait.
Wait until it's finished.
Yeah. Otherwise, it'll fucking flop. Division. Fuck
Yeah, like
you.
Destiny.
Destiny. Fuck you.
What a flop. Anyway, we've talked about that before on the show, but I wanted to bring it back up because the loot box debacle that's been going
Yeah.
on. But yeah, I just
Fuck you, Division.
I just personally hate DLC. It
Yeah,
drives
I'm
me
not a
crazy,
fan.
and I would prefer to not have it unless it's the collaborative stuff because I do think that's neat. Where they're like, hey, the costume designer from this made a Final Fantasy outfit, and you can buy
What
it
sucks
for
now is
$2.
it's like
That's cool.
mainstream to have this like predetermined DLC for your games and season passes.
It
and
sure is, and it
it's
drives me
insane,
crazy.
man. Like if you want the whole game that
The
you buy,
majority
it's
of
like
games
$200.
don't have, or the majority of games have some sort of DLC
Yeah.
thing. Like,
And now they
It's
like come out
ridiculous.
with like these multiplayer games that aren't a full game until like 2 years later.
yeah, if your game is good, it'll make money. Like, I fully believe that if you made a good game, like if you look at The Last of Us,
Yeah.
The Last of Us obviously linear single player game, etc. Best selling Naughty Dog game
Yeah.
was The Last of Us. Best selling, at least on the PS3, was The Last of Us. Like,
Game's
because it's a
sweet.
good game.
It's awesome.
Like, if you make a good game, people will come. Persona 5 sold millions of copies because it's a good game. Like, they hit the mainstream finally. You know, they did it. They've made all these good games. So, like, I don't know, just make a good game, and your game will
DLC.
sell. You don't need to
Fuck
nickel
you,
and
EA.
dime the couple of people who liked your game.
Yes.
You know?
mean,
Or,
I think
and
we-
unfortunate with Activision and EA, it's the millions of people who like your game.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, give us more.
And I think you just
Greedy.
you just need to like, it's like with anything else. If you just like don't want it, if you don't want it to keep happening, just don't buy into it.
Yeah, that's the thing. People
Like,
buy it.
Yeah, people buy
People
the season
buy it.
passes. Like
Stop
me.
it.
I mean, I'm being
Stop it.
I'm being a fuckboy right now, but I mean, you buy it.
To be fair, the only season pass I've ever bought in my life was Uncharted 4's. And it's because it comes with the edition that came with the statue.
I bought the Division one, and
that's it.
since then
It's
I
the only one
haven't
I've ever
bought
bought.
like DLC.
I might buy Tekken's, though.
Man, god damn it, I hate DLC. Podcast over.
I might buy Tekken. But to be fair, it's not, it comes with the bowling, but that should be free too.
Yeah,
that
the bowling- I wanna play the
That was
bowling.
literally a free unlock in the other Tekken
Akuma
game.
loves bowling.
Maybe I'll buy the bowling tonight. We can play that.
That sounds sweet.
Yeah,
Or we can
I'll
just
buy
fight
the
each
season
other.
pass. Because I'll buy the.
Do you get
yeah.
geese with it?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go downstairs and buy the season pass. It's gonna be so much fun.
Damn it! We didn't prove any point, did we?
No. What were we talking about?
Not buying
Man, I'm
season
excited
passes.
to play the season pass.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna go buy that. Well, anyway, that's it for this episode of the Press X Podcast. Thank you for being here, Todd,
Thanks for having me.
and thank you so much for watching. We'll speak with you next time.